Robertson, and today we did an Edulastic at the beginning of the class. If you were not here, go into my Google Classroom and do the Edulastic. It should be there, but we did run into technical difficulties when I accidentally deleted it. But I re-added it to fourth period. Not sure if it's in second or third periods. Now, and then we are grading the backside of yesterday's worksheet right now. So for number 1, you should have 315 yards cubed. For number 2, you should have 180 millimeters cubed. And now we're ready to do number 3, which you didn't have to do that one. Now, on these problems, we have to change our fractions to improper fractions. And 9 1/3, 3 times 9 is 27, plus 1 is 28. So that's going to be 28/3. Write that on your paper. 4 inches written as a fraction is 4/1. And 6 1/2 written as an improper fraction is 13/2. Now, volume equals length times width times height. Now we're going to do our substitution. 28/3 times 4/1 times 13/2. Now you're allowed to use a calculator. So when you take 28 times 4 times 13, you're going to get 1,456/6. Now, we need to simplify that and change it to a mixed number. How many 6's are in that? There are 242. And you have 4 left over. That would be an answer. Then you can simplify 4/6. 242 and 2/3. Write that down for an answer. And some of you, you're going to get a decimal. If you take 1,456 and divide it by 6, you're going to get 242. Hey, how do I show a bunch of 6's that repeat themselves? Put a line over it. So you're going to have 0.6 with a line over it. Write down all of those answers for number 3. The answers are up here in the front. Make sure you're looking at the front board. Okay. Number 4, you couldn't do because you didn't have this number. This is going to be 2. So put a 2 there. Now let's all quickly do number 4. Volume equals length times width times height. Volume equals 6 times 2 times 12. And when you multiply 6 times 2 times 12, what did you get, Jordan? 144. Perfect. 144 feet cubed. Now let's do number 5. Pretty simple. Volume equals length times width times height. Then we multiply 4 times 4 times 13. Christian, what did you get? 208. Did everybody get 208? 208 meters cubed. Now, for this one, we're not going to do the fraction answer. We're just going to do it as decimals, okay? Because we have a calculator, and that makes it very friendly when we do decimals, okay? So, what will be the decimal for 2 1/2? 2 point what? 2.5. Very good, Vanessa. What will be the decimal for 5 3/4? 5 point. Who knows what's the decimal for 3/4? Willow. That's right. 3/4 is 75 cents. Okay, so you're going to take 2.5 times 5.75 times 8. Yeah.
Why don't you, like when you do right times left times height. Why don't you put like
them in certain order?
No, I have it was like why don't you put like a multiplication?
Because you don't need to. And if you use an X, that's a variable. So you can use a dot, but it's not necessary. Because I find, like when you have a bunch of decimal points, it's hard to tell the decimal point from a dot sometimes. So what do you get when you multiply these all together? Jordan? Perfect. 115 yards cubed. Does everyone have that? Okay, now we're going to do 7 and 8, and then we'll do 9 and 10 tomorrow. Are we ready for 7 and 8? Okay. Find the volume of the CD box shown at the right. Okay. You kids probably don't buy CDs anymore, do you? You do? Yeah, these were really popular. So, you're going to take 8 times 6.25 times 7.5. It does not matter the order you put them in because multiplication is commutative. Okay? Now, Christian, what did you get when you multiply those together? I've not done this problem yet. We'll see what he gets.
375.
Did anyone else get 375? Tejas, you got it? So we agree. It's 375 inches cubed. Everyone got that? Good. Now let's do number 8. And then we're going to stop and I'll go do our other worksheet that we're going to do. It's an easy one. Number 8. It says Geneva's younger brother has a toy box that is 3.6 feet long, 2.4 feet wide, and 1.5 feet high. What is the volume of the box? Well, volume equals length times width times height. So we're going to do, and you have to write down what you multiply, right? You can't just put it down and answer, you'll get in trouble. 2.4 times 3.6 times 1.5. Now, it can be in any order. It doesn't have to be in that order. What did you get?
12.96.
Did anyone else get 12.96? Let's try it. Make sure she has 12.96. Did anyone else get that? What do you have? Who else got a different answer?
Not me.
Somebody double check it.
Okay.
Everybody get 12.96?
Yeah.
Double check it. Because there have been times I make videos and no one checks it, and then I have these published and I have wrong answers on them. You got to check it. This is a video.
That's right. I got it.
Oh, good. Good. Now, okay, we're now going to do 9 and 10 we'll do tomorrow. Just save the paper. We'll do them together tomorrow. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is this worksheet right here. And I will probably walk around and pass them out. I want you to do problem number 1. All right, now let's go over this worksheet that I just gave to you. This is 3D volume review number 1. Circle all the units that could be used in an area answer. Area answers are two-dimensional. So that means we multiply two things together to get the answer. It has 2 dimensions. So you're going to have centimeters squared. Yes, that would be circled. Meters? No, that's a 1 dimension. Inches cubed? No, that's a 3 dimension. Square inches? Yes. Square is a 2 dimension. Cubic is a 3-dimensional answer. What do the answers in A have in common? They are 2D answers. All right? Or 2D shapes. 2D stands for 2-dimensional. Do you get that?
Yeah.
If not, you can write the whole word out. 2-dimensional shapes. But if you know that the D stands for the word dimensional, you can just write that 2D down. It says, why do they have this in common? Well, you multiply two sides together. All right. Now, let's go to the next, or you multiply the two sides or the two dimensions together. Two dimensions together. Now let's go to number 2. Number 2 says circle all the units that could be used for a volume answer. Volume is 3-dimensional. So this is a 2D answer. That's a 1-dimensional answer. That one's a 3-dimensional. Square inches is a 2D answer. Cubic yards is a 3D answer. It's a volume answer. What do the answers in A have in common? 3-dimensional shapes. It's a 3D. What do they have in common? 3-dimensional shapes. Why do they have this in common? Volume equals length times width times height. Okay, now let's go to number 4. Find the volume of this shape. Formula. Well, that's really easy. Volume equals length times width times height. Now, kids, on your test, you have to put the capital V equals length times width times height in order to get credit for your formula, because some formulas are area formulas, and they are a capital A. Work is just like substituting because you get to use a calculator. What are you going to write down? V equals 6.3 times 7.6 times 6.1. Normally it'll say substitution, but do you understand now what substitution means? You show what you're multiplying. Yes. All right. And what did you get for your answer? That is perfect. 292.068, and it's meters cubed. Okay? Any questions? Now we're going to go to the next part. It says, does everyone understand this part here?
Yeah.
Good. Now we're going to go into another part where it's going to, instead of it being an inch, we're going to say how many half inches will fit into a shape. And I've made these little things to help you see how many halves are in a half-inch cubes would be in a 1-inch cube. Okay, I'm going to put this here because I'm recording it. They can see. This is a 1-inch cube. Okay, it's a cube. And the little cubes that make it are a 1/2 inch. Okay, how many of these 1/2 inch cubes fit into a full cube? What do you see, Christian?
Oh, I had a question, but
Yeah, what's your question?
Jordan said, did you make those or did you buy
I
them?
made them. I had the little cubes and I made them. So, but how many little cubes are in a 1-inch cube? These are how many 1/2 inch cubes? How many do you see?
I think there's 8.
You are right. There are 8. Now, how do we get that? Well, here, let's practice drawing a picture of a cube. I start off by drawing a square on top. It's a little off. Then I make the front. Try to make it a square. And then you got the little slanty on the side. Okay. Now, that's 1 inch. We want to know how many 1/2 inches. So I cut it in half this way. Got to sort of angle them. Those of you that are good in art. Okay. Then you can see, oh yeah, that sort of looks a little bit like Mrs. Robertson's cube. So how many are on the bottom? There are 4 of them. How many rows of 4 do we have? 2. So that was how we have 8. Another way of thinking of it, it's 2 times 2 times 2. Write this down on your paper. 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now we're going to go to the next one. Now, instead of half inches, we're cutting it up into 3 pieces for each inch, a third. So, here we have a picture of, here's my cube. Pretend it's 1 inch. It's bigger than an inch, but pretend it's 1 inch and pretend that each one of those are a third. Here it is. There's my cube. All right. So, how many cubes do you think are in this one? How many 1/3 cubes are in the 1 inch cube? There are 9 in the base. That's right. The bottom row has 9 because it's 3 times 3 is 9. How many rows of 9 do we have? 3 rows of 9. 3 rows of 9. What's 9 times 3? 27. So there are 27 cubes that are 1/3 of an inch. 3 rows of 9 is 27. Just think of it. 3 times 3 times 3. Excuse me. So, here I'm going to try to draw one.
Wait, slow down.
Okay, there's my 1 inch cube. And this time I have to cut it up into thirds. And I have to cut it up in thirds this way. And there. Oh, it's fallen down. You can tell they're not very good. Okay. Now, this one's good of that. So how many do I have on the bottom row? Well, there's 9. You can sort of see there's 9 of them. And I have 3 rows of 9, or 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Now, I'm not going to draw the other ones, but here's the next problem. Are you getting a feel for the pattern?
Yeah.
1/4 of an inch. Okay, how many are on the bottom of this cube?
4.
4 by 4 is, how many little cubes do you, 16. So 4 times 4 is 16. So the base is 16. How many rows of 16 are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So then you take that times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And 16 times 4 is 64. Now just think of it. Another way is 4 to the 3rd power. 3 to the 3rd power. 2 to the 3rd power equals 8. Now we have one more. A fifth. And I have one of those. Pretend that's an inch. Okay, here we have it. Okay, how many are in the bottom row or on the top row? How many cubes are a 5 by 5? A 5 by 5 is how many? 25. And how many rows of 25 do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 rows of 25. 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 equals 125. 5 to the 3rd power. Do you see the relationship here on how we do this?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to the back side, and I want you to do question number 9. Everyone do number 9. Oh, let's make them decimals. Okay, what's the decimal for 4 1/2? 4 point what? 4.5. Let's do 2 1/4 for a decimal. What's the decimal for 2 1/4? 2 point what? 1/4. 1/4 is how many cents? 25. And that one's a 3. So do the formula, the work, and get the answer. That's pretty good. Okay, let's see who gets the answer for number 9.
I have it. I have it. I have it. I have it. Nobody asked me.
Good.
Wait,
What did you get?
I got Say it louder.
30.375 inches cubed. Any questions? Now, how many cubes 1/2 inch in length would fit in that? Okay, so let's go back. How many 1/2 inch cubes are in an inch? 8. So we're going to take your answer, 30.7 or 0.375 times 8. Write that down. What do you get for your answer? I don't have that written down. I didn't multiply it. 30.375 times 8. What'd you get? 243. Now, it's not inches, it's 1/2 inches cubed. Okay, so that's how many 1/2 inches cubed would fit in there. Okay, now this time explain your reasoning. Multiply by 8 because 8 1/2 inches cubed equal 1 inch cubed. Okay, something like that. Now, this time, they want 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to multiply 30.375 times, turn your paper over. How many 1/4 inch cubes are in it? 1/4 inch cubes. How many 1/4 inch cubes are in this? What does it say? 64. So you're going to multiply it by 64. And when you do that, you get 1,944. Now the answer, 1,944 1/4 inches cubed. Explain your reasoning. You multiply by 64 because 64 1/4 inches cubed equals 1 inch cubed. Okay? Now, your homework is to do question 12. If you can, go ahead and do 13 and 14, but I think you can. Once you're finished, put your calculator up, turn your paper in the yellow folder, and then you have free time if there's any time left.